Well played, kid. Taking on my soldiers means you got some kick to you, but I guess that's nervous power for you. Now, any last words before I finish you off so I can go splatter the rest of your artsy-fartsy friends?
Medius, hold on! I'm here to help!
Well, if it isn't the runt of the litter. I see you found an appropriately shabby nest to crawl away to.
Can it, Cyclops? Must be pretty easy to stomp on everyone in that big suit of armor. Let's see if you can pick on someone your own size.
Oh ho ho! Get the little souvenir from your time in the Force, huh? Careful! I don't remember that going so well for you last time.
We'll see about that.
No, I can't let this be a future that comes to pass.
Graf, you don't have to do this alone.
I think I know how we can beat this guy. Before we delve into Doom, each lore update comes with a few cards that bolster the other themes in the storyline. So let's go ahead and do a quick check-in with all the new Artmage and Medius cards. First up is Artmage Movement Lineage, a normal spell card that you can activate if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. Special summon an Artmage monster from your deck in defense position with a different name from the cards that you control. And if this card is sent to the grave to activate the effect of the theme's spell card, Artmage Academy Arcane Arts Acropolis, you can add an Artmage trap card from your grave or banishment to your hand. But you can't special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate either of these cards' effects, except for fusion monsters. So hey, that's pretty nifty. The field spell is constantly hungry for spell and trap cards, so having one that helps keep your hand stocked up is pretty welcome. Not to mention, our trap cards are nothing to sneeze at. As far as the base effect of this card goes, it's also pretty nice. There are a number of ways to manipulate the amount of monsters on your side of the field using the extra deck, so you should be ready to utilize this most of the time. And for it, you get access to any of your on-theme monsters, or at least ones you don't already have on the field. And I think it's safe to say that of all of them, Artmage Power Patron isn't one that sticks around on the field for very long, being a fusion enabler and a monster with a strong sent to grave effect, so expect to summon that off of this a lot. Turns out, with effects like this, you can ensure that your cards get a lot of movement. Artmage ReonPotato Turmoil is a normal trap card that targets a monster in your opponent's grave. You return an Artmage monster you control to the hand or extra deck, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster to your field, but its effects are negated. And if this card is sent to the grave to activate the effect of Artmage Academy Arcane Arts Acropolis, you can add an Artmage spell card from your grave or banishment to your hand, but using any of these effects puts you under the same no summon from extra deck but fusion monster restriction, basically like how Lineage works. And thankfully, this version has a lot more targets for you to grab. The basic effect is, once again, very good, operating on a variety of different levels. Returning an Artmage to the hand might seem rough. After all, most monsters don't do anything unless they're on the field. But most of them have effects that special summon themselves from the hand and provide a sweet little bonus on top of it when you do so you're actually resetting that effect to use again later. The Grave Hate can also be a little hit or miss. Generally, you want to steal something your opponent is able to make use of, but because the effect is negated, you're only going to get value out of everything else printed on the card, which is usually a mismatch. But as it turns out, it's because your opponent's monsters are likely different from your own that they're valuable, because many Artmage monsters require you to have 3 or more different types among the ones we control to use them, adding to the idea that Artmage work best when collaborating across disciplines. Chalk this up to another mechanical win for the theme, and an even bigger flavor win. And it's topped off with a cool guys don't look at explosions moment. Absolutely incredible composition. Ain't nobody doing it like Artmages are. Theorealize Overdrive is a quick play spell card that targets a Medius the Pure in your grave or banishment and special summons it. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a face-up monster you control and declare a level from 1 to 10, and its level becomes the declared level until the end of the turn. So, casting our minds back to last set, regular Theorealize put Medius into our graveyard from the deck, so this thankfully plays off that and its own self-banish condition. And like how the base form's Grave Effect help with diversifying our types to make our Artmage effects work, Overdrive's Grave Effect is going to be very helpful when it comes to enabling the mechanics of the DoomZ, which we'll be getting into very shortly. Its lore implications will have to wait for a bit longer, but let's just say that when it comes to proving my point from last episode, it really drives them home. Alright, now that we've covered all the previous lore cards, it's time to explore the new archetype. So what's the deal with DoomZ? Well, the main deck ones are a series of dark dragon monsters that focus on two things, being destroyed by card effects and being equipped with equip cards. That's because, when equipped as a quick effect, they can pull off a kind of rank up effect, special summoning a Wind Machine Xyz monster from the extra deck of the same rank as that monster's level, and then proceeding to attach itself and all cards equipped to itself to that Xyz monster as material, an effect which itself counts as a proper Xyz summon. And this is good because all the extra deck DoomZ monsters are wind machines, a very underserved type and attribute combination, which continue the trend of destruction and equipping. And like the last theme, it comes with a main deck power patron that helps to enable the theme, which shares the type and attribute of the extra deck monster version of the power patron. Power patron machine DoomZ is a level 1 wind machine monster with 300 attack and 200 defense. Ooh, Karibo stats. While on the field, you can't special summon from the extra deck except Xyz monsters, and you can target one other effect monster that you control to special summon from your extra deck a DoomZ Xyz monster, or Jupiter, the power patron of destruction, with a rank equal to the level of that monster that you control by using it as material, and this is treated as an Xyz summon. And if you do, equip this card you control to it. And if this card is destroyed, you can add a DoomZ card from your deck to your hand. So yeah, this basically hits all the same beats as our previous power patron of the Artmages. It's small, enables the summoning mechanic of the theme, restricts you to only using that summon mechanic while it's on the field, and gets you a search, this time when destroyed. It's also got an upper hand on the rest of the DoomZ crew because it can turn any other monster into our on-theme Xyz monsters, leaving the door open to some wacky tech pick so long as they have the right level and can be summoned freely. Though keep in mind that the resulting Xyz monster is only going to have one Xyz material, because rather than being attached as material, this power patron gets equipped as an equip card, which is good for some things, not so good for others. Also, I don't know why they gave the font of the DoomZ power a little chubby punch, but yeah, I'm here for it. Our next two monsters are pretty similar. DoomZ 5 Amalth is a level 4 Dark Dragon monster with 1600 attack and 1200 defense, and if this card is normal or special summoned, or is destroyed by a card effect, you can add a DoomZ monster from your deck to your hand except a copy of itself. Meanwhile, DoomZ 7 Alara is a level 4 Dark Dragon monster with 1400 attack and 1200 defense, and if this card is normal or special summoned, or is destroyed by a card effect, you can set a DoomZ Spell or Trap card from your deck. And they both have the rank up effect we talked about during the intro paragraph. These are basically our Stratoses, with Alara being the most optimal because it grabs spell and trap cards, including our on-theme equip spell. Simply flip it up and Alara will be ready to rank up at a moment's notice. Though in combination with our next monster, Amalth isn't too bad either. In fact, let's introduce them right now. DoomZ Xyz Drastia is a level 8 Dark Dragon monster with 2400 attack and 1500 defense, and you can target a DoomZ card you control and destroy it. And if you do, special summon this card from your hand. Then you can equip one equip spell from your deck to it, and they come with the same rank up effect as our previous monsters. This means if we get a Amalth, we can grab Drastia, who can blast a Amalth to summon itself while grabbing an equip spell anyway. And yeah, any equip spell, as long as it's an appropriate one, you can put any of them onto this Dragon Commando. I cannot wait to get into the absolute glut of equip spells that you can use with these, but for now, I'm just gonna revel in how Drastia doesn't just have the dual pistol setup going on, but the solidest snake tentacles. I don't care how evil these dragons are, if I get power armor like that, you can sign me up any day. That does it for the main deck. Now it's time to tackle the extra deck. DoomZ Break Diactorus is a rank 4 Wind Machine Xyz monster with 2400 attack and 0 defense, requiring 2 level 4 monsters as material. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy a DoomZ card in your hand or face up field, then you can destroy a monster on the field. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect while it has a DoomZ monster or Medius the Purest material, you can add to your hand or send to the graveyard one equip spell from your deck. That's right, the power of the DoomZ ain't just for dragons, even twinks can harness their awesome might. But yeah, this is why it's so important that we can rank up at quick speed with our previous monster, because now we can use that removal effect as disruption. This is pretty easy for a Malth and a Lara to pull off once they have an equip spell, but as it turns out, Medius just does it better. Remember that our pure little ray of sunshine can summon any power patron when summoned, including the new DoomZ one. So without any outside cards, you can summon Medius, get DoomZ Power Patron, and boom, Break Diactorus achieved. The only problem is that you're not able to use this version of the rank up at quick speed. The Power Patron isn't that quick on its feet, so there is a bit of a trade-off going on here. The good news is that no matter how you make it, its removal is always online. Even if you have no other DoomZ cards on hand, you can have it pop itself, making it a kind of New Age Diamond Direwolf. And popping itself might not even be the worst option, because if made with on-theme material, it being destroyed nets you an equip spell search on par with Drastia's. Heck, it's even better because it doesn't even equip directly to the monster. You either put it into your hand to use it for whatever you want, or send it to the graveyard in case it has some funky grave synergies. I'm telling you, this Diactorus is really out here breaking the mold. DoomZ and Drastrius is a rank 8 Wind Machine Xyz monster with 2700 attack and 1500 defense, requiring 3 level 8 monsters as material, which means we're going to want to be summoning this via Drastia's effect almost exclusively. The first time this card would be destroyed by a battler card effect each turn, it is not destroyed, and if this card is Xyz summoned, you can equip one other face-up monster on the field to it. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field or in the graveyard as a quick effect, you can detach a material from this card to negate that effect, then you can equip one face-up monster your opponent controls to this card. So this big creature is filled to the brim with removal, but in one of the most dastardly forms possible: equipping! While it might seem like the Xyz archetype would relish in the idea of attaching opposing monsters as Xyz material, this one actually wants you to fill up your spell and trap zone with equipped cards, turning monsters into husks of their former self. They can't do anything but watch on in horror, relinquished style, as you keep stealing more monsters. And because Drastia can accomplish this rank up at quick speed, you better believe this is going to come down and steal a monster at the most inopportune time imaginable, then steal another with its fantastic negate. Overall, this is a stupendous monster, and it's not doing much to dissuade me from joining the side of evil. This thing's got quad cannons for fingers and a shoulder-mounted dragon ray. This was made for me! Jupiter, the power patron of destruction, is a rank 10 Wind Machine Xyz monster with 3500 attack and 2500 defense, requiring 3 level 10 monsters as material. But once per turn, you can also Xyz summon copies of this card using any monster you control with 3 or more equipped cards, transferring its materials to this card, if any. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can equip any number of appropriate equip spells from your grave to it, and it gains 3000 attack while it has an Xyz monster as material. And once per turn, you can detach a material from this card to special summon a DoomZ monster from your grave. Then, you can destroy one card on the field. Woo, where do I begin with this? So this is the culmination of a lot of stuff we've talked about so far. We haven't seen a level 10 monster in DoomZ so far, but Theorealize Overdrive can make one of them level 10, making this an option to summon off of the rank up effects. But doing this means bypassing the bonus 3000 attack effect. That is best enabled by Drastrius, who does make it their business to equip monsters left, right, and center. Being able to equip a load of spells from the grave means you can double dip on a load of powerful cards, and if that wasn't enough, it can also revive your DoomZ monsters and pop a card. If you wanted to be a little gremlin, you could revive Break Diactorus and then pop an opponent's monster with Jupiter's effect, then have Diactorus pop itself and another card on summon, giving you 2 pieces of removal for the price of 1. Much like Nerva, the power patron of creation, this isn't the easiest monster to build into, but once it's online, it is a true menace, no doubt about it. It may not be a Vanquish Soul monster, but being named Jupiter was on the spot, because once it's live, it's gonna roam and cancel any plans you had for winning the game. One of the many themes to cover out of Doom of Dimensions is DDs, and I need your help to cover it. Ever since I started working on this channel full-time, my Patreon has had a goal where if I get 200 patrons, I would cover the theme, and now seems like as good a time as any to accomplish that goal. If you have $1 to spare each month, please consider supporting me over on Patreon or right here as a YouTube member. I'll be counting both, because it really does make a huge difference here. Not only do higher tiers get you early access to videos and parts of my Discord, it also means I'd have more money to hire editors, which would mean I'd have more time to do other outrageous things. It's no exaggeration that if just 1% of my audience gave a single dollar, I'd never have to worry about a video underperforming ever again, and I could invest in a lot more lore content. Turns out that stuff is pretty risky. Thank you all for your time, and now, let's get to the explaining. Alright, that's all the monsters. Now it's time for the spells and traps. DoomZ Raider is a continuous spell card which, during your main phase, lets you destroy one other DoomZ card in your hand or face-up field, then adds to your hand or special summons a DoomZ monster from your deck. Also, you can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Xyz Monsters. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field and destroy it. Only use one effect of this card per turn, and only once per turn. So while the card doesn't do anything on its own, it does help to enable on-destruction effects. This works best with a Moth and a Lara because their effects trigger on summon or when destroyed by a card effect. So pop one in your hand to summon the other, then get both of their effects. And that's where things get nasty. If you set our on-theme equip spell and add Drastia to your hand, you can first equip that card to whatever you ended up summoning to your field to activate its effect, ranking up into Break Diactorus. Its on-summon effect can pop the DoomZ Raider and an opposing monster, and then Raider pops an additional card. From there, have Drastia destroy Diactorus to summon itself and equip whatever you want from your deck, while Diactorus triggers to get you an equip search. Have Drastia upgrade to Drastius whenever you please, getting you a monster equip, and with the equip spell in hand from the Diactorus search, you're just one equip away from accessing Jupiter. This is a fantastic way to get your combo lines flowing. It's just a shame that it's a 2-card combo that can't really do anything by itself. But I guess it is nice to know that under all that plate armor are the faces of real, actual people. People who seem to be twisted by rage and bloodlust, but, you know, people all the same. DoomZ Command Doomdurg is an equipped spell card that, once per turn during your standby phase, inflicts 500 damage to the equipped monster's controller. A DoomZ monster equipped with this card, or a Wind Machine Xyz monster that has it as material, gains these effects. Your opponent can't target this card with card effects, and once per turn, as a quick effect, you can destroy one other card you control. Also, until the end of this turn, this card gains attack equal to its own level or rank times 100. It can attack directly. Also, if it battles, destroy it at the end of the damage step. Oh, now this is an exciting card with a lot of implications, but I'll keep the lore ones in check for just a little bit. For now, just remember that if your opponent is at or below 500 life points, you can give this to an opponent's monster for safekeeping to close things out when you pass turn. This hurts you as well, but you can bypass that issue by using our on-theme gimmick, because as far as I can tell, this is the first equipped spell in the game that confers an effect when it is attached as Xyz material. And while it's under a monster, it can't apply that first effect, so you can get away with using its bonuses scot-free. And what bonuses they are! They're not too potent when used with our lower leveled monsters, but Drastia can tutor this up and swing in for a cool 3200 direct damage. But why stop there? By using Drastia's rank up, you can put Doomdurg underneath the new Drastia's form, which can not only now swing in for 3500 damage, its once per turn destruction protection means it's not going to self-destruct when you hit with it. And if you can put this onto a fully powered Jupiter, then it's just game over. With a base of 3500, an additional 3000 attack if it's got an Xyz monster under it, plus 1000 from Doomdurg's effect, you can swing in for 7500 damage without any other boosts. It might not be protected from the destruction, but because the game might be over at that point, that hardly seems like an issue. It is slightly annoying that it leaves your opponent with 500 damage on the table, but it also feels very intentional considering the burn damage that Doomdurg can deal. And if you're attacking directly, well, they might still have a monster that's a valid target for it, if you can either recover the one that's in your graveyard or equip them with a fresh copy. Or just take matters into your own hands and burn your opponent's house with Ukazi. It's 800 damage, so it's more than enough. DoomZ Destruction is a normal trap card that targets a DoomZ Xyz monster you control, and this card equips to it with the following effect. Your opponent can't add cards from the deck to the hand except by drawing them, and if this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field and equip a DoomZ monster from your deck to it. So we have a trap card that adds to our equip count, and it turns them into the most annoying part of Thunder Dragon Colossus? This might even be worse. Like, imagine going in for a search effect and then having this flipped on you, forcing the effect to fizzle. That's gotta be rough. As for the on destruction effect, there really isn't a direct benefit at the moment. None of the DoomZs have effects while being equipped to monsters, but it can help enable our other effects, and if a Malth and a Lara get equipped and then subsequently destroyed, that triggers their search, so that's not bad. It also might hint to future card design, so keep this in mind for later. Now, in most circumstances, I would say that it's strange that a card like DoomZ Destruction is a support card for their own theme, but given their proclivities towards deconstructing themselves, I see where they're coming from now. Medius, Graflair, wait, you're doing exactly what they want you to do! Alright, so that's all the DoomZ cards, but what do we do with them? Well, our damage output isn't in question. We just need the consistency pieces to ensure that we can get our combo going, and find some installation that'll make sure this plan goes off without a hitch. It might also behoove us to take a look at the Wind Machine Xyz pool and see what other cards we have to work with. So what can we play to help them out? When it comes to that Xyz pool, our options aren't great. We can only summon monsters whose ranks match up with our available levels, which at present are 4 and 8. And of the 7 other Wind Machine Xyz monsters in existence, only one of those fit the bill. But Super Quantal Mech Beast Ouroboros ain't too shabby. Book of Moon is still a powerful effect, even today, so having it available in the extra deck is fantastic, especially if we can get Doomdurg underneath it for that sweet targeting protection. It's not going to get much of a boost from its own effect, mind you, but it only has limited attacks in it anyway, so it's not a huge loss. The rest of the pool is made up of ranks 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11, and most of those are things we can modulate with a variety of effects, including the Theorealize Overdrive we brought up previously. Zen Mao is pretty slick for getting rid of set cards, Draco Sack is probably one of the coolest, while Doomdurg is underneath it, you can use another material to make the 2 tokens, one of which you can pop to get the direct attack effect, boosting Draco Sack to a cool 3300. And if the other token is still around, the self-destruction drawback won't hurt you. Our other rank 7 is Tomahawk, which is a band at time of recording. Enter Blatnir provides a lot of banishing removal, but the one that seems most in line with our theme, is Sky Palace Gongari Day. Its removal and deals 1,000 points of damage. The only drawback is that it can't attack that turn, but where some might see this as a conflict, I see it as having flexibility. Either you crack a card to take out your opponent's last 1,000 life points, or you use Doomdurg's effect to let you swing in for 4,400 damage. Overdrive can't help you get to the Chaos Xyz version of that monster, Sky Palace Babylon, but it's barely even a marginal improvement on the original, so that's an easy pass. How about some Dark Dragon support we can use to enable our main deck DoomZ monsters? Well, while we do have some Xyz locks, our Power Patron only does this while it's on the field, and our other is tied to Raider, which is sadly very useful, but we shouldn't let that get in the way of some great off-theme support. Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres is basically a given for most dragon decks, giving you some Unreal removal and replaces itself with a dragon. And what better Dark Dragons are there than the Bestials? Sadly, the 2 most useful ones, Magnamut and Druis Worm, are limited, but both still offer very powerful effects, searching you a dragon and removing a special summon monster respectively. They also pair up with our level 4 monsters quite well for some Chaos Angel nonsense if we're not Xyz locked yet. And hey, Baldric still ain't half bad as a way to punish extra deck monster type summons. But there's also one more aspect about the theme, its affinity for equip spells, and there are a few choice selections. Air Cracking Storm turns any of our Xyz monsters into even more potent combat threats, while Dragon Nails gives some protection to our main deck dark monsters. Archfiend's Staff of Despair is a great addition to any of our bigger monsters to apply a horrid debuff to the entire opposing lineup, and to get a huge buff, it's hard to go wrong with Mage Power. We're already loading up our back row with equipped cards, so this gives us even more opportunities to skyrocket our power into the stratosphere. And because we have the ability to attack directly, that ain't nothing. But we don't just equip our spells immediately to our monsters, Break Diactorus can tutor them. This means we have a great argument to play the card Snatch Steal, letting us use our opponent's monsters against them. Heck, even if they don't have any useful effects or attack power, our Power Patron main deck monster can just convert them into an Xyz monster if they have the right level. As for a silly tech pick, I'd like to have ways to access Jupiter that aren't either level manipulation or collecting 3 equip spells, and the best way to do that is to run a level 10 monster that our Power Patron can upgrade. and thankfully, we've got a couple of sweet options. We've already got plenty of spell and trap cards to play with, and we can feed those to Eldritch the Golden Lord. The unfortunate thing about it is that it can only be a 3500 attack monster for a turn rotation before losing the buff. So why not turn them into Jupiter so they can stay that big forever? Another option that costs a bit less is Karnot the Eternal Machine, which can summon itself for free from your hand or grave, as long as your opponent has activated a monster effect in their hand or in their graveyard over the course of the whole duel, so yeah, that's pretty likely. Void Burial has the option of being disruptive, spreading around some attack debuffs before you convert it, maybe even popping a monster, and monsters being sent to the opponent's graveyard is just kind of a fact of life. But the one with the most utility are probably the Kaijus, specifically their level 10 representative, Jizukiru. Including Kaijus in your deck allows you to out certain sticky monsters that are hard to deal with, then you can stick Jizukiru onto your board before giving it a retrofit. It also opens the door to play Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which can not only get Jizukiru onto your board, but also trigger our other effects by popping our monsters. Alright, that's enough about the cards. What about the story behind them? Well, we left out on quite the cliffhanger last time, but let's do some catch up to make sure we're all on the same page here. The Artmage Academy is the center of their nation's power, raising and housing the next generation of sorcerers, each with their own unique magical focus, with the one thing they have in common being that they're all based on some artistic medium. Laterra is music, Graflair is fireworks displays, and Finmel is painting. The Academy also houses the avatar of Nerva, the power patron of creation, a being that supplies the power of Artmagi to the practitioners of the Academy. However, disaster struck as a large, mysterious, mechanical claw broke through the Academy's defenses and threatened the lives of its inhabitants. In fact, it may have claimed the life of Finmel if not for the intervention of Medius the Pure, who is gifted with the power of future prophecy. It allowed Medius to use Finmel's paintings as a focus to divine the future, and thus was able to bear the brunt of the attack meant for the paintress. This would prove to the power patron that Medius was someone worthy of their direct assistance, and so elevated them with Nerva's power to become Diactorus. But the story was put to a halt right there. We didn't know anything about the mysterious assailants or what they planned on doing, until now. This is the proper introduction of the DoomZ, which are themselves the Special Forces branch of the nation Doomderg, an acronym that we have no way of knowing what it stands for at present. Thankfully, we know all of this for a fact thanks to the lore intro provided by a V-Jump feature closer to the original release of these cards. It also continues on to say that Jupiter, the power patron of destruction, sent a small machine avatar of its own to bond with a powerful warrior to enact its will. But the DoomZ forces weren't satisfied with just a single power patron, and found out how to mass produce them. While none of the red reproduction patrons had the same power as the original green patron, it still proved to be a fantastic piece of gear for heightening the unit's combat prowess. That's all the information from the official source, save for one other moment I'll bring up in just a bit. Given the focus on nations and their power, I think it's safe to say that we're witnessing a power grab. DoomZ, as an extension of Doomderg's military, is here to claim a swift, decisive strike against the seat of the Artmage's power, maybe even taking control of the power patron of creation in the process. But that's not the only revelation we've got here. The dragon typing of the main deck monsters isn't just for show. Each of the DoomZ Operatives have an iconic pair of dragon horns poking out of their head, a feature and type that's shared with Artmage Graflair, an interaction that's emphasized in Artmage movement lineage, with Graflair and Drastia staring each other down. We can't be sure if they're actually related by blood, but it is worth noting that they both have the same kind of silver pendant, and each of them have one horn that's larger than the other, with one having the left longer horn and the other having the right one. But no matter where those clues might lead, it's clear that Graflair wasn't always a citizen of the Artmage country. There's also some cool mechanical ties going on here, like Graflair's penchant for fireworks could be a product of their more technological upbringing in Doomderg, but as opposed to the rest of the DoomZ that revel in self-destruction, Graflair resists destruction once per turn, though specifically only by battle. It also sets a spell to our field, kind of like how Alara does, and Graflair also comes with spell and trap destruction tied in, so it can't fully escape its history. This is the other moment outlined in the lore intro, as Drastia, having embraced the power of the original Power Patron and ascending to Drastrius, has Medius at gunpoint, who seems to have reverted to their base form, presumably being tapped after their 2-on-1 encounter with Amalth and Alara. Graflair arrives in the hopes of saving their friend, producing an object only a member of DoomZ should have, one of the reproduction patrons. And it's at this time that Medius receives his second vision, the Theorealize Overdrive. Within the swirling, saturated colors, Medius sees a future where Graflair attempts to tap into the Power Patron only to transform into a berserk creature. Amalth and Alara were far from the picture of stability, but this fate was something more. And so, in a desperate bid to change the future, Medius reaches out to take on the weight of the Power Patron themselves. After all, he was already accustomed to wielding the power of creation, now it was time to wield the power of destruction. And in so doing, Medius harnessed the power of the Break Diactorus. That's where the article ceases clarifying events, but I think it's pretty simple to piece together what happens next. In DoomZ Destruction, Medius and Graflair team up, the latter of whom has repurposed DoomZ tech to fight instead of using the Reproduction Patron, armed with Amalth's arm and Alara's leg boosters. The fight itself isn't documented, but Artmage Peripeteia turmoil likely shows the conclusion, with Drastrius engulfed in an imminent explosion and the green original Power Patron avatar hanging out with the Artmage Power Patron with Medius. It also seems like Littera is chanting some kind of spell using her instrument, but we don't have any clue as to what it's doing, something I'm hoping we'll find out during the next set. But with that, we've covered all the lore available at the time. We don't have any conclusive information to help us to chart where the story is going from here, but my guess is that Littera is casting some kind of teleportation spell to get everyone away from the blast radius. And with any luck, we might find ourselves in the spiritual realm to speak with the Power Patrons directly. Or we'll run into a third nation with their own Power Patron to unlock the power of Synchro Summoning. No matter what, be sure to subscribe to the channel for the next time we get a lore update. Leave a like if you liked it. Check out one of my videos in the sidebar to help me show up on your homepage. And be sure to share this video with somebody you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to throw some thanks over to my Power Patrons. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout while helping out the channel. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Charlie Mercury, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Meme King, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yaminair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Boos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, That One Dumbass, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Anthorak, A Random Pup, Blade Runner 1034, Blaze Rider, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Christopher Fuss, again, Chris B, Cool Trainer Dark, Dr. Entity RIP, Eki Bullock, Edwin Perez, Eva Padilla, Herbal D, Inblink, J.A. Flair, Julian Marquez, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Mr. Machina, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nicholas Murphy, Not Al Gore, Obsidian, Pombo, Rhyme Kairos, Rogue Wolf, Shizuka Nijimura, Simic Toadstool, Stephen Huntsman, The Legendary Raven, The Queen of Time, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Zaldreka and Zentha, as well as all the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member. And if you'd like to see how the story begins, check out this video where I cover the Artmage archetype. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.